Hello, 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 and welcome on today. So, today we're talking about open enrollment. And I know that you guys are probably thinking, well, I don't do the whole insurance game or whatever, so this is not for me. But I want to say, hold the line because this actually is for you. It is for everyone who is trying to have access to healthcare because you have options. But the thing is, because you have options, it can seem overwhelming. And my job is to help simplify that for you today so that you are not overwhelmed. And we're going to get into it today. If you are new here, I'm Dr. Ashley Booth. I'm a board certified family medicine physician, and I provide practical health tips and tools that you can use in your everyday life. I am also the owner of Healing Beyond the Stethoscope Primary Care, which is a direct primary care practice servicing the Savannah, Georgia, and surrounding areas. I'm ready to get into it because I know that you guys are too. But before I do, I want to tell you just go ahead, do the things, subscribe, follow, share, turn on your notification bells, all that kind of stuff. I will not spam you. I am here to just give you some great, valuable information that I hope that you will be able to use, and it helps you, it helps your family, it helps your community, because that's what we're here to do. If you have any questions along the way, or comments, be sure to put them in the chat and I will definitely be sure to get back to you. If I don't see it like in real time, I'll definitely try to circle back so I can find it and reach out to you. But let's not hold up any longer. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, open enrollment. Like I said, when you do that and when it comes to healthcare and open enrollment, you have options. And there are some things that you should be thinking about so that you can make the best decision for you and for your family. The first thing I want you to think about is coverage. Now, listen, I'm going to get into it. And like I said, I'm going to simplify it, but you may want to save this video for later. You may want to pull out a pencil and a pen and a piece of paper so that you can write this down or start taking notes on your phone, whatever it is, because I'm going to simplify it and give you a few things that you want to make sure that you look at. So the first thing is coverage. And when I talk about coverage, I'm looking at it in a couple of ways. The first thing is you want to look at what they owe or what they are going to cover, and then what you owe. Because a lot of times what happens is people don't understand like that percentage of what's going to happen. So you want to know that amount. Like, are they going to cover 80% and then you just cover 20%, or is it vice versa? Like, you should be aware of what that is so you will know kind of what that coverage looks like. The other thing is you want to make sure that it is taking care of your big ticket items. And by big ticket items, I'm talking about your ER visits, hospital visits, sometimes even up to imaging, because imaging, depending on the types of imaging, can get pricey. Because what happens is that 66% of bankruptcies have a medical component to it. So when people are filing bankruptcy, they have a medical component to it because of these large bills. And a large portion of that 66%, they have insurance. The thing is, the insurance still did not cover enough for them, especially those large ticket items. It is someone was in the hospital for several days. Someone had to go to the ER a couple of times, all of that kind of stuff. So it continues to add up. So you want to make sure that you get the coverage that you absolutely need and that you are aware of what you're going to be able to have. The other thing is you want to look at access. So when you have access, you want to look at access to the providers that you want to go to. So that's primary care. Of course, I'm going to talk about primary care. And the reason why is because your health is primary, or it should be primary. It should be taking a front seat, not a back seat, because what you have going on is going to affect what you do going forward. So if you are healthy and you are well, then you can do the things. If you are not, then you're not going to be able to do the things. So your health needs to be primary. It needs to take priority. And when you do that, you need to have a primary care doctor to help you stay well, because your primary doctor should be the first person on your team. That's why we are called primary care doctors, because we should be the first person on your team. A lot of people have a lot of specialists and they say, well, my specialist taking care of this, my specialist taking care of that. I don't really need a primary. Your specialist will tell you you need a primary. You know why? because your specialist is only looking at a certain thing. They are looking at whatever they specialize in and not too much outside of that. You need your primary to not only keep track of those things, but your primary can also start looking at some other things that they are not keeping track of, like your mammogram, pap smears, colonoscopies, PSAs, if that's indicated, like all of these other things that go on that your specialist is not doing. And when you're sick, call up your specialist, your cardiologist, your nephrologist, all the ologists, and say, I don't feel good today. You know what they're going to say? Sounds like you need to call your primary. So that is the other reason why you have to have a primary on deck and have them a part of your team, because they can kind of help coordinate these things. The other thing is a primary care doctor should be in place, and research has shown that they help make people and keep people healthier. And how they do that is when we start looking at all the things, we make sure you're up to date on what you need to be up to date on. But that also decreases the need to go see a specialist. If you come into a primary care doctor at the right time, they can look over everything and say, oh, this is starting to get away from us. These are some things we need to put in place to keep it under control so that you don't have to see a specialist. That's another reason why primary is important. They can also do some things to help prevent you from having to go to the ER or go to the hospital. So keeping some of your healthcare concerns under control so that you don't have to do that. So you want to make sure you do that. The other thing is, when you have access, you want to be able to see who you want to see. Hear me and hear me well on this one. You want to be able to see who you want to see. If that's a primary care doctor, if that's a specialist, you want to be able to go where you want to go. A lot of times, if I have to send someone to a specialist before I refer, I ask the patient who is in network for you, because I can send them somewhere, but then they will kick it back and say this person is not in network. And if they're not in network, then that means that you're going to have to pay for this out of your pocket. Well, you say, well, I have insurance. I don't want to pay for it out of my pocket. I understand that. So you want to be able to see who you want to see, because that will make a difference in your care and how well you get to. Because a lot of times you find out which doctor you want to go to by someone else. A friend went, a coworker went, somebody spoke highly of this doctor. Yeah, girl, I'm doing so good. Yeah, man, this doctor took really good care of me. So you say, I want to see them, but your insurance said, you can't go see them. So you want to make sure that you have a plan that is going to increase that access and allow you to go where you need to go. Because if you really want to see this particular provider, and especially if you want to see a physician, and your insurance said that they can't do it, and you have to go to someone else, you may not be as comfortable with that person. You may feel like that person is not listening to you, they are not hearing you, they are not able to do the things that you want them to do. There may be, you may love the doctor, but you don't like the office because all of these other things that are happening. Whatever it is, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a plan that is going to allow you to have that access to go wherever it is that you want to go, so you can see who you want to see. The third thing is options. Like I said, you have options. And like I said, we're going to talk about more than insurance today, because with insurance, you have all these different things, and people think, well, insurance must be my only option. No, you have all these other things that you can do. So, but we're going to talk about insurance for a little teach bit and give a little time. When it comes to insurance, you want to look at, again, the plan that is going to give you the more options. And when you look at that, you're looking at like a PPO versus your HMO. That was like the two biggies when it comes to options. PPO typically gives you more flexibility. Sometimes it's usually a little bit more expensive. You have to decide what you want. Do you want to, are you okay with being blocked and locked in and say, I can only see these people and nobody else? Or do you want to say, oh, you can kind of see whoever you want to see. It's fine with us. We don't care. And that's what you have to start thinking about, because a lot of times people think with, well, this plan is a little bit cheaper. And I get it. You want to be financially savvy with it, but you also want to think about, okay, do I want to have more options? Because more options can open up some things for you. Other thing, who accepts it? Who accepts this plan? Because again, financially, a lot of people go different places. They get a plan that's relatively affordable for them, but then they find out nobody is accepting it. They said, nope, we do not accept that. So again, that decreases your options. If a ton of people don't take that plan and you can't really get in with anybody, and they say, well, we'll see, we have an opening 8 months from now, 6 months, or a year from now. I'm actually hearing that. This is not hearsay. This is what's happening. So if that's the case, then what do you do? Is that really a good plan for you financially? Yeah, it was relatively inexpensive, but you still paid something for it and you still didn't get what you needed out of it. So you want to make sure that although this plan may be inexpensive, go and look, okay, this is the plan option. Who's accepting it? Because that's what you want to start looking at, because that's going to make a difference with your health too. Because if you have something and you can't get in with the people like you want, is it really working and is really helping you? The other thing is you have these health sharing plans. They are not insurance. They are very similar to insurance. Some of them are faith-based. Some of them are just kind of like independent. But what they do is they work very similar to insurance in the sense that you have, but it's not a corporation. It's just a group of people who get together, they pool their resources and their monies, and then they say, well, if you need this, then we will help pay X amount towards this. So that's another option to look into, because then you have a little bit sometimes more flexibility and stuff like that. Again, you have to look at and see, because they still have different tiers. If you do this tier, you have access to this. If you do this tier, you have access to da da da. So you want to look at it from that standpoint. The other option is direct primary care. You know, I am biased about direct primary care because that is what I practice. It is that membership based model. It's a subscription. It's just like Netflix and Hulu, and you can see your primary care physician however you want to see them so that you are well. But the thing is, I'm going to be unbiased and give you some of the pros and cons about it, right? So one of the things is it pairs well with things like a high deductible plan. A lot of people use it for that because they say, well, I don't get sick that often, so I'm going to do a high deductible plan. That's great. Sometimes those high deductible plans come with like an HSA or an FSA. So that's that money that you have. And then people use that to pay for their membership so they can see the doctor like they need to be seen, because they know that if I can reach out to my primary and I can go ahead and tell them, hey, this is what's going on, then it gets fixed right away. I am well much sooner and I don't have to worry about it. And again, I don't have to worry about having to see a specialist because my primary is taking care of it. So it pairs well with high deductible plans. It pairs well with health saving or health sharing plans. A lot of them actually give discounts if people decide to do that plan. So they say, if you do a health sharing plan, if you decide to do direct primary care, we will give you an additional discount. People want you to be healthy. At the end of the day, if we're thinking about just insurance options, right? They want you to be healthy, because the healthier you are, the less they have to pay for things. The health sharing plans realize that people are healthier because they are in this direct primary care model, because they have access to all these different things to keep them well. So what do you have access to? Overall, you have access to the doctor. You have access to the doctor directly. You're able to text, email, virtual visits, all of that. Because if you are sick today, like I just had someone to call me and say, I am having this going on, can I be seen? Yes, we have time, we have made space so that we can get you in. Someone else texted and said, hey, this is what's going on. I am able to text them and say, okay, this is what we need to do. Or let's hop on the phone. Let me verify and clarify what's going on to get you well. Boom, done. So you get that access so that you are able to get back on your day and do what you need to do. That increased access is going to do a few things for you. It's going to decrease, again, the need for the specialist. It's also going to decrease the need for like a hospital visit or even an urgent care visit. Because a lot of times people go into urgent cares too. Listen to this. Your insurance will allow you to go see your primary care, but can you see them when you want to see them? If you are sick today, can you get in today or tomorrow? A lot of people are saying no. Had someone told me they had a serious thing that was happening and their office said, okay, we'll see you in a month. I was like, in a month, I could probably be dead. Well, go to the urgent care. So you want to be able to see your doctor. A lot of people are not wanting to go to urgent care that much anymore. They said, well, my doctor knows me. I don't have to tell my story over and over and over again. If I just tell them this is what's going on, then they know what to do. So you want to be able to think about that when it comes to your insurance plan, because a lot of people are saying, well, My primary can do that. So you want to be able to make sure that you have that. The other question is, can you get that type of access for young children? Absolutely. So I'm family medicine, which means that I am trained to see little bitties. We say from cradle to grave. So I'm trained to see like newborns all the way up. My preference is to see those about 10 years old and up. There is another great direct primary care that is in the Savannah area. The Tiny Beat, I absolutely love Dr. Beat. She is a pediatrician and she also does lifestyle medicine. So she does that for the children. The other thing is that there are other direct primary care doctors who are doing this, see the whole spectrum of everyone. There are pediatricians who are doing this. There are now specialists who are doing this. There is an endocrinologist in town, Dr. Abby Abisugun, who's also doing this. We have an OBGYN that is doing primary care and GYN and services, and that's Dr. Gaudry. So we have quite a few that are starting to step into this arena. So there's definitely options for young children. There are plans that are put together to try to make it as affordable. Like there are family plans, there are individual plans, there are business plans. So because I know a lot of people are concerned about businesses. Well, insurance is super duper expensive for businesses, right? And like I really want to be able to provide something for my employees, but I just don't know if it's going to be affordable. There are some affordable plans, and we have plans for those businesses as well. So you have these options, you have the access. And when it comes to businesses, I'm going to talk about that real quick. That is another thing where if your employee is better and they're better faster, then they get back to work and they're able to do what they need to do. If you're a small business owner, you don't have that many employees, but you need something for yourself. This is what happened with my parents. My parents were both small business owners, and for a while, we did not have insurance. There were moments and times when we did not have insurance. But this is a plan that would have worked well for them because if they are sick, if they have a sniffle, if their children, like us, had an issue, they could call up the doctor and come in and be seen and move on. And you don't have to have this, oh, I just pray that we stay okay until we can afford insurance, right? So those are some great options for businesses. We have some great plans for businesses. We take care of some great businesses in town, and they see the benefit of being able to do that. Some of them subsidize it and they pay a portion of it for their employees. Some of them just, have it as an option, and then the employee can decide how much it's going to come out or whatever. But that is a great option and great question. The other thing is, when it comes to direct primary care, the other thing that we have is discounted pricing. So what I'm noticing is that we are able to get pricing on labs and even some imaging cheaper than people can get it through their insurance. We have that great insurance. I have this good insurance. A lot of people keep saying, but I have good insurance. Okay. I had someone who told me that. Not knocking it. I have insurance too. So listen, I'm not against insurance, but I know how to pair the plans to make it make sense for all of us. When it came to that, they didn't know how much their labs were going to be through insurance, but they say, I'm paying for insurance. I want to put it through my insurance. Okay, let's run it through. Ran it through their insurance and it was pretty expensive. And they said, hey, if I did it through you, how much would it be? First of all, they didn't have to, I could tell them on the spot how much it was. They had to wait a few weeks before they got the bill in the mail from their insurance to tell them how much it was. For me, I could tell them it was this amount. From that, this is what the lesson was that we learned with their insurance. And then once we did my discount for it, what they found out was they had savings of enough to be able to pay for a month of membership and pay for their labs and have some money left over for a nice lunch. That's how much I saved them. I saved them enough money where they were able to, when they saw how much they were going to pay through their insurance, they were able to pay for a month of membership, pay for their labs, and then still had enough money left over to have lunch. So when we think about insurance, we have to think about what all is it taking care of for us. And when it comes to primary care, when it comes to things like labs, it really isn't tailored for that anymore. It really is tailored for the big ticket items, like I said, the specialists, the hospital visits, things like that. So a lot of people pair their membership with their insurance. Some people have the higher deductible plans, they have some of the other plans. But the other thing is, people just say, you know what? I just want great health care. I don't care what kind of insurance plan I have. I know that if I come to you, you're going to get these things under control for the most part. But if I need my insurance to take me and move me somewhere else, then I'm going to do that. So that is one of the things that you want to make sure that you think about, because at the end of the day, that's what you want, because we don't want these sneaky bills. We don't want these large bills. We don't want all of these things to kind of happen to you, right? So if you want to know more about direct primary care, kind of how it works and some more information, because some people think that it's too good to be true. I had one person that say, "Oh, you just sound like a little infomercial." But I know the care cannot be like this. And unfortunately, because we've been so burned by how the healthcare system works, how inefficient it is, we think that we have to wait a couple of months before we can get in to see somebody. We think that we have to wait a long time before we're able to get an answer to our questions. No, if you are concerned today, I'm concerned today. If it's something that I can take care of today, let's go ahead and take care of it. And I make room for it. And people say, well, I said, make sure you tell other people, because I'm still accepting new patients. And they don't want to send people my way. And they said, because I don't want for you to not have time for me. But the difference between me and the other doctors who practice direct primary care and the other docs that just solely, strictly take insurance is that we have a cap. Your other doctor sees at least, especially primary care, seeing at least 2,400 patients. That is their load for the year. That's like how many patients they have on their load. Direct primary care on average have about 600. Some people go lower than that and they have 300 or 400. So because of that, you're able to have the longer visits, 30 minutes to an hour visit. So that way you really get a chance to know your provider. Your provider gets to know you. You guys develop a relationship. Because of that time, I know that I am able to understand like what's going on with somebody because I know them. They come in and they sit a certain way. I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? Let's talk about the life. Because at the end of the day, I also know that your life affects your health. And so if we can get to the root of what's going on there, then we can start fixing some of these other things and how that is affecting you in the long term. So if you want to know more about direct primary care, it is a movement that is happening. It is something that I am very happy to be a part of, because it is really starting to change lives. And I'm not just making that up, like seriously seeing a lot of changes. High blood pressure going down, diabetes being reversed. All of these things are happening because you get a chance to spend more time. One visit with me is 30 minutes to an hour. Your first visit is an hour. One visit with another primary care doctor on average is 15 minutes. So on average, people are spending 4 times as much time with me in one visit. That makes a difference. So contact me. You can send me a message privately, DM me, whatever. I can send you some information about not only direct primary care, but also about our office, because like I said, we are accepting new patients. I have the link to our website and to my socials on the video. So if you can click on it, you'll find all of that information there. But at the end of the day, I want you guys to get the right plan that makes the most sense for you and for your family so that you can stay well. Until next time, I will see you soon, and take care.